I'm Paul Dudley. We begin with breaking news in the French Quarter. New Orleans police are investigating a shooting at the 400 block of Bourbon Street. That's Bourbon and Conti. Information is still limited at this point, but let's get on over to Danny Monteverdi. He is live at Bourbon. Danny, at this point, do we know much more?
Well, Paul, it's one female is dead this morning after this shooting here on Bourbon Street. There are 3 others injured in the hospital right now, including the suspected perpetrator. Now, this all happened about 3:15 this morning, again, here in the 400 block of Bourbon Street. That's between Conti and St. Louis, and it all happened at this Willie's Chicken Shack that's behind me. But again, the headline out of this is one woman is dead after being treated at the hospital this morning. 3 others in the hospital right now as well. Now, Police Chief Sean Ferguson spoke and gave some details about this a short time ago. Let's take a listen to those details right now.
This morning, approximately 3:15 a.m., 8 district officers who were immediately in the block, or the 400 block of Bourbon, responded to a call. They heard shots fired within this area. Upon their arrival, they identified a security guard who had been in a struggle with an individual while attempting to have this individual removed from the business. In the process of having this individual removed, a struggle ensued over the security guard's weapon. At this time, we believe the individual disarmed the security officer and began to fire shots in the area. As a result of firing shots in the area, the security guard was struck. The perpetrator, the armed subject, or the person being ejected from the business, was struck. A third victim, male victim, was struck, as well as a female was struck while walking down Bourbon Street. That female later expired at University Hospital, unfortunately. Our officers who were immediately in the area was able to contain the scene and apprehend the individual that was involved in the disturbance with the security officer. Right now, the security officer is in stable condition after having the surgery. The perpetrator is in surgery, and the third subject is being treated and released at the hospital at this time. What I would like to say is we had our officers right here in the area. We've arrested 7 individuals, taken 7 guns off the street, off Bourbon Street, since Friday night. 2 on Friday night, 5 on last night. This will not be accepted. We're working with our local, state, and federal partners to make sure that individuals are not being armed and just causing a disruption to our citizens here in French Quarters. We're asking everyone, as I've said for the last 2 weeks, please leave your weapons at home. Do not bring guns out here on Bourbon Street. Do not bring guns unnecessarily to our streets, period. We're out here to have a good time. Everyone is out here to have a good time. Please be responsible while you're out here. Again, 7 guns taken off of Bourbon Street since Friday. Our 8 district officers are in every block, and they were able to respond immediately. So we're asking you, work with us to make sure that everyone have a safe and joyous Mardi Gras season. Mayor, would you like to say anything?
Well, first of all, absolutely to the victim who has lost her life this early this morning on Bourbon Street. So definitely focused on her and her family. But more importantly, as it relates to guns and weapons on Bourbon Street in the city of New Orleans, holistically will not be tolerated. But at every moment, the New Orleans Police Department is prepared to respond as needed, and that was demonstrated this morning. Thank you.
Chief Ferguson, Mayor Cottrell, after a violent weekend last weekend, we have this happen on Bourbon Street. What do you have to say to people who are coming down here to revel and enjoy Carnival season?
I would say that you can still come and have fun. As we've said before, we are confident in our deployment. We showed it tonight. We had officers in the area. Not only is the parade route being monitored, our neighborhoods are being monitored. The French Quarters are being monitored. We have officers in every aspect of our city throughout this Mardi Gras season. We have all hands on deck. And we showed tonight, while working with our partners, that we're here and we're ready. We will not tolerate unnecessary gun violence.
So therefore, we will be proactive, we'll continue to be proactive, and we will continue to respond as necessary when these types of events do occur. Of course, we want to prevent them as best as possible, but that comes to individuals coming to cause harm to others. But if you choose to, we will not only are prepared, but we will respond as necessary, as demonstrated here this morning, as well as demonstrated last week.
Do we know anything about the victims? Are they from here? Are they tourists? Do we know anything about?
Right now, it's currently under investigation. It's still homicides doing their report and identifying them right now.
Chief, are y'all looking at, or do you already have a surveillance video or anything from city crime cameras? Or
That's a part of homicides investigation right now. They're in the process of obtaining any and all video footage that was out here during that time. And we asked if anyone know anything, if anyone have any additional information that can help further this investigation. As always, please contact us at the 8th District Station or at Homicide or anonymously with Crime Stoppers, 822-1111.
Chief, again, how long did it take for you guys to respond to this?
Immediately, within seconds. We had officers in the block. We have officers in every block, and we had officers in the 400 block of Bourbon at that time, immediately.
And so again, there you hear Police Chief Sean Ferguson and Mayor LaToya Cantrell giving the details as we know them right now. The headline out of this, unfortunately, is one woman is dead after shooting on Bourbon this morning. 3 others in the hospital, including a security guard whose gun was apparently taken from him at the Willie's Chicken Shack behind me about 3:15 this morning here in the 400 block of Bourbon. Also in the hospital is the suspected gunman in this case and a 3rd victim as well. Again, the female, we don't have an age or name yet on her just yet. I did ask police if she was an innocent bystander. They said it's a little too early to tell at this point, but in hearing the police chief's comments, it sounds like, unfortunately, that might be the case, as you heard him say that this victim was walking by on Bourbon Street when this happened. We did talk to a witness who saw this happen, and we'll hear from that person in the next half hour. But the person says the NOPD was here within a matter of seconds. As always, during Mardi Gras time on Bourbon Street during carnival season, police are pretty much swarming this street, and it's really hard to go a few steps without seeing one. So police apparently on the scene very quickly, and again, there is one apprehension as well. As soon as we get more details, including that suspect's name, we'll bring them to you on WWLTV.com and on later editions of Eyewitness News here on Channel 4. But for now, reporting live in the 400 block of Bourbon Street, Danny Monteverde, Eyewitness News. Paul?
Danny Monteverde working hard for us this morning. We really appreciate it. Live there at Bourbon and Conte as we follow this story. We do want to get over now.